back, everybody. It's Chris Salcedo Show. Glad you have tuned in. On the phone with us now, Byron Henry, everybody. He's one of the legal eagles here on the Chris Salcedo Show, an attorney with Scheef and Stone. Mr. Henry, welcome back to the Chris Salcedo Show.
Glad to be with you, Chris.
All right. Manafort indicted. Let me just read from the accounts here, and also one of his business associates. 12 counts, including conspiracy against the United States. Other counts in the indictment include conspiracy to launder money, false statements, and 7 counts of failing to file reports of foreign bank and financial accounts. Nearly exclusively, there's a slight bit of overlap, and it's almost inconsequential. Nearly exclusively, all of this focus is on the time that Mr. Manafort, before he was associated with the Trump campaign, yes?
That's right. According to what I've read, all of the indictments relate to charges that were filed relating to money and connections Mr. Manafort had with Russia and Ukraine, independent of the Trump campaign.
Correct. Now, let's detail the seriousness of these charges, and then we'll get into this strategy, and it seems pretty typical by everybody I've been listening to this morning. Alan Dershowitz, a Democrat, Judge Andrew Napolitano, a Republican, and James Rosen, a legitimate journalist. We'll get into the strategy here in a minute. But as far as these charges, how serious are they, and how much of a penalty can they carry?
Well, it's prison time for all of them, and there's multiple counts. So, I mean, you're looking at significant prison time if he's convicted. I would say that I know you want to get into the strategy later on, but these indictments have been expected. In fact, Manafort and his attorney were spreading that he expected to be indicted since late summer, after they conducted the FBI conducted the raid at his house regarding and scooped up all the financial documents. So to the extent he had something to offer or a deal was to be made, he's had roughly, at least 2 months, maybe a little longer, to make any deals prior to indictments coming down. So I don't buy the leverage. I think that's wishful thinking on the part of the left and Democrats. It is a standard strategy for prosecutors. Don't get me wrong. That's true. But the idea that they are now going to flip Manafort and all this information that no congressional committees, no leakers, no Justice Department, and no special counsel has uncovered to date on all this collusion by President Trump and the Russians regarding the election is just going to come flowing out, I think is very far-fetched and highly unlikely.
Trey Gowdy said pretty much the same thing on Fox News Sunday over the weekend, but let me play Judge Andrew Napolitano and get you to react. He was on Fox and Friends this morning. Have a listen.
That this is the first of many dominoes to fall. That Bob Mueller is following the standard MO of federal prosecutors. You got a totem pole, you got somebody at the top of the totem pole, that's your big prize. No surprise, it's the President of the United States. You're going to indict people going up the totem pole to see if you can squeeze them, threaten their ruination by loss of liberty and loss of property, and to get them to turn evidence against the top guy. Sometimes people will make things up so that the squeezing will stop. Sometimes they'll say, I don't know anything about the president. He didn't do anything wrong. He had nothing to do with this. We'll see where it's going to go. This is the first of many steps in Bob Mueller's putting together an enormous puzzle.
And you're saying that because you don't expect Paul Manafort to invent something to get himself off and turn over any or doesn't have any evidence, that this is going to go nowhere, and that the other dominoes that the judge was making reference to, there won't be many more to fall. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying there's no dominoes, and I'm not disputing that this is not standard operating procedure. My point is only that these investigations have been going on a long time, much longer than Mueller's been in charge. The Congress has been involved. There's been independent reporting on this issue for many, many months, and there is simply, to date, no evidence that President Trump or members of his campaign during the 2016 election colluded, which that word still eludes me for purposes of a legal definition. I say conspired with the Russians to somehow affect the outcome of the election. It could happen. I mean, I'm just going by evidence. We try to stay grounded here and not wishful thinking. And the idea that you go after someone at the top of the totem pole is ludicrous. A person who's sworn to uphold the Constitution, a federal prosecutor, a U.S. attorney, does not set their sights on someone against whom they have no evidence. and try to find evidence against that person.
Well, wait a minute. Isn't it? Well, hold on, Byron, because isn't that the predicate of this entire special counsel investigation? There has been no evidence from the get-go, other than a lot of hurt feelings from the Democrats. But they convened a special counsel investigation based on no evidence, based on no charges. There was collusion, as you rightly point out, isn't a crime. So this whole investigation has been predicated on nothing.
Worse than nothing. We learned that the FBI kept the investigation open and actually did surveillance on some Trump officials based on the discredited dossier about Trump. Not only did they pay for it and the Hillary Clinton campaign helped fund it, but then they relied on it in court, it seemed. Now, hopefully there was more information than just what was in the dossier to get FISA warrants and surveil the Trump administration, which to me, in and of itself, is a story worth reporting and getting to the bottom of.
No, I agree. And you know what? And that you just brought me right where I wanted to go. By the way, Byron Henry with the law firm Scheef and Stone in Dallas, Texas, folks, is our guest right now, one of the legal eagles here on the Chris Salcedo Show. So the timing of all of this, as the Fusion GPS investigation gets underway, because the DNC and Hillary Clinton paid for that, as the Uranium One deal that investigation gets underway in Congress. Actually, it's been underway for a long time. It's just the Justice Department, the FBI, has been withholding documentation because a lot of the Obama holdovers are not turning over this stuff. At any rate, all of a sudden there starts to be a little bit of momentum that picks up, and magically Bob Mueller, the FBI director who was in charge during this bribery investigation with the Uranium One deal, all of a sudden he announces this indictment over the weekend. The timing seems very suspect to me. I don't know about you.
Well, it's not only suspect, but the idea that Mueller might have been involved with the FBI back at a time when the FBI was involved with investigating Manafort, involved with investigating or having anything to do with Fusion GPS also raises questions. And I will tell you, there's a reason why Democrats have been so quiet, and even senior Democrats like Dianne Feinstein and others. Senator Feinstein had said early on that there doesn't seem to be much here with this Russian collusion. I suspect that they are not happy with Mueller digging into every single branch of this and root of this and where it goes, because I suspect that there's enough to go around unsavory behavior, even if it's not criminal, by the Democrats, and we've already gotten a taste of it with respect to the dossier and the funding by the DNC and the FBI that could taint not just candidate Hillary Clinton, but Secretary of State Clinton and the Obama administration.
All right. Last thing I wanted to talk to you about is because, and we brought this up last week, the hypocrisy of the Democrat Party. Now, you remember when Vianetskaya, that Russian lawyer, met under false pretenses saying, oh, I've got some dirt on Hillary Clinton. Can we meet with Donald Trump Jr.? And he took the meeting. And Vianetskaya only wanted to talk about the Russian adoption bill to get it relieved. But he went there looking for dirt. And Democrats said that was treason. Democrats and anchors on MSNBS said that was treason. Now you fast forward. Now the Democrats and Hillary Clinton campaign paid Fusion GPS, an ally of the Russian government. They actually contracted, paid money to the Fusion GPS who went to the Russians. That does cross the line, does it not? When you actually – now, Donald Trump Jr. didn't cross any lines. He didn't pay for anything. But the Democrats did pay Russian interests for dirt on Donald Trump. There's a difference between those two cases, yes?
Well, if the definition of collusion is working with, and you're just going to use a broad definition that doesn't have any bearing in criminal law or any other law, and you're just going to say collusion means working with, then absolutely. The Hillary Clinton campaign worked with a company that was in bed with the Russians with respect to the election and digging up dirt on Donald Trump. Flip side, Kushner and Donald Trump Jr. met with a lawyer, not with Russia, but a lawyer who supposedly had information on the Hillary Clinton. Now, they didn't work with her because they refused it, but there was a meeting regarding dirt on Hillary Clinton. So regardless of the gravity of it, if you're talking about working with people that are from another country Russia in this case.
Right.
If that's collusion, then if that's collusion, and I'm not even saying it is, because as I said before, I'm not sure what that means, but if it means working with someone from another country like Russia, then the Hillary campaign certainly worked with people that represented and worked with Russia. Certainly if Donald Trump Jr. meeting with a Russian lawyer on the possibility there may be dirt to dig up without paying for it, if that's working with it, then so is the Hillary Clinton campaign. There's no doubt. Byron
Henry, everybody, with Scheef and Stone, Legal Eagle here at the Chris Salcedo Show. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate the time. Yeah, you know what, folks, I got to tell you, paying a foreign entity for dirt, that's the problem. My understanding of election law, that's a no-no. Back in a minute, WBAP News Update roaring your way next.